lot going on, and I appreciate you taking the time today to chat with us.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
Well, let's just get right into it. I've got some questions here that have come in from different people, and some questions I wanted to ask you. Now, you and I were talking before the webinar started. You were sharing with me a little bit about where you came from as far as your background in business and the experience that you had. Can you kind of share with people a little bit about what you were doing before you did this, and kind of what led you to ABS?
Sure. Well, Adam, I've always been in the medical field, I guess, as long as I can think of. I started off working for a multi-clinic. Had about 40 doctors in it, and I started out in the medical records department. And then that was in Nampa, Idaho, and then we moved to Missoula, Montana, and I started working for a medical billing company here. And they mainly did ambulance billing, and then they started adding a few doctors in, and I was able to kind of facilitate that and be over that part. But I just was noticing some shortcomings that our company could offer our doctors, and started looking for a better way to accomplish what needed to be done. And went out there and I found you guys, American Business Systems, and I was just like, wow, this is so cool, and thought this would be great. And then I got to thinking, well, how am I going to convince my boss that we need to upgrade and do something different with our software? And then I'm like, wait a minute, I could do this myself. I was like, okay, this is going to be awesome. And so signed up and went to Texas for the training, and it was just great.
Yeah, so you started out and you weren't doing any billing at all, and then you said you moved over to a different department where you were doing some billing. Is that what you said?
Well, no, I had started out with just doing the ambulance billing, and then they had started bringing on a few medical practices. And so I started being able to head that up for them. Okay.
So you weren't in the position of thinking about any other type of business opportunities or anything like that. You were in the medical world, and you realized that you could probably do something similar to what you were doing from home and be able to make more money than what you were making, right? That's
exactly.
Yeah.
Right, and my whole reason for doing that was just to have more of my own time back, and to have the flexibility to, do different things with my life than just go to a job 8 to 5 every day.
Right. So, what did you, when you were looking into ABS, did you have a chance to talk to any references by chance? Any other existing licensees? Do you remember?
Well, I did. Because, everybody's skeptical when they first hear about an opportunity. And so, yeah, I asked to speak with somebody individually one-on-one, and I was given a couple of people's numbers and called them up and chatted a little bit, and they gave good reviews about it. I checked with the Better Business Bureau. I did my homework, and I just found everything to be, number one. So went forward with it.
Great. Yeah. Believe it or not, I talked to a lot of people that for some reason they don't feel comfortable calling references, and I don't know. They just, some people don't do it, and it seems kind of interesting to me that they wouldn't talk to as many people as they possibly could, so you can kind of get a feel for, okay, this person has my personality, and I might be able to do it the way they're doing it, or this person had, I didn't like how they marketed it at all. Just kind of get a better feel for how the business would be run, based on who you're talking to.
Right, and that's so true.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about when exactly did you sign up with us and you went through and go through the training?
It was 2009, I believe. I think it was that January that I went to training.
Yeah, and when you came here to Dallas, what what did you expect that you were going to get out of the training versus, what you actually received? Was it different?
Oh, well, it's been a while since I had the training, so I'm going to try to reach back in my memory here. But, I just remember it being everything that they promised it would be and more. That is what I remember it being, and I never regretted, going and doing that because it just seemed to really give you a good kickstart in what you're trying to accomplish. And yeah, I just remember the training just being very thorough and just very inspiring as well. Kind of walking away with an attitude of, I can do this, because it's scary when you start your own business. It really is, and to have people on your side and in the background rooting you on and giving you a little bit of advice and things along the way, it really, really helps out.
Yeah, a lot of people, they come to training thinking that it's just going to be a medical billing, terminology session where they use the software and do the claims. And I don't even think we had a hands-on whenever you came through. I mean, the training is vastly improved from when you went through it in '09. I mean, we've got so much more that we've added to it. So sorry about that. You can come back to training if you want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, now we have what's that?
I'd almost like to, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it probably wouldn't hurt. We've got a lot of new stuff since you've been through the class. But yeah, a lot of people go to the training thinking it's just going to be some boring session on medical billing, coding, terminology, and stuff like that. And it's so much more, because a big focus of the class is on the marketing and business development side, which is very, very, very important, because you can learn all there is to learn about a software system, but when you get back home, that's not going to help you get any clients. That's the hard part. So,
right.
What about when you first? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that that's one of the things that people may be thinking. That it was easy for me because I had the background and knew how to do medical billing, but I do want to say that there's an upside and a downside to that. The upside is that, yes, I didn't have to worry about learning how to bill and code and all of that, but the downside was that's my specialty, and so I couldn't build my business and keep my job because that was a conflict of interest. And I found that it was harder for me to build my business because I'm the one sitting behind the desk doing the actual work. And so it's difficult for me to go out and market. Whereas I think if a person is starting this kind of more on the business end of things than from the specialty side of things as I did, then they have the chance to build their business right from day one, which is, I would offer the advice of not being the one who does all the work. I mean, not that you can't work in it and do the things that need to be done to save yourself a little bit of money and overhead, but I really think that the best way to do this is having someone or having, some people doing the actual day-to-day work for you while you're building your business, because otherwise it makes it very difficult to grow.
Yes, that's a very good point, and I would agree that the people that are, looking to build a very large business with this and are more focused on the marketing aspect or the development aspect over the technical side, those are the people that, they realize that, what, I'm going to go out, I'm going to, as soon as I get back home from training, I'm going to go out and I'm going to start talking with doctors and people that know doctors and start getting clients. And it's a learn as you go kind of situation, because once you get that first contract, we've got a lot of support in place and a lot of training in place after the live training to get you up to speed very quickly on the technical stuff. So yeah, I mean, and a lot of those people, they do the billing. They decide that they want to do the billing themselves for maybe a month or two, just so they can understand the process and how the software works and all that. But then they pretty quickly realize, what, I'm going to pay somebody else to do the processing part, and and just go out and build the business. That tends to work better. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you just said you quit. You had to quit your job when you started this, so you were doing this full time right off the bat.
That's right. I had to walk into my boss's office and tell him that I was going to become his competitor. He wasn't very happy.
Oh no.
And I did this I did this as upfront and as honest as possibly do it, because I wasn't trying to, hurt my boss or, hurt his company at all. I just wanted the opportunity for myself. And I let him know up front that I was not going to take any of our clients with me. I said, that's not what I'm about. I'm gonna do this myself. And I couldn't help it. I had my clients who loved me when I worked there, and they asked what I was doing, and I told them, and I said, I'm sorry, but I can't take you. I've signed an agreement that I wouldn't compete, for a certain length of time. And they said, well, let me know when that time is up, because I'm coming with you.
Oh wow.
And so that is how I got a couple of my first clients, because I had already built a reputation.
Okay, great. So that was actually my next question. Like how long would you say that it took to get your first couple of clients?
Let's see. It took me, trying to remember back. I think that I got my first client within just a couple of months, and then I had to wait, I think it was 6 months, for the clients that wanted to join me, and leave my previous employer.
Oh, I see. Yeah, we tell people it usually takes an average of 30 to 60 days to start really generating, an interest. I mean, you are part of our network, but you are opening up your own local office, in your area. So you do have to start, and we'll get into this in a minute, but you do have to start networking with people and building relationships and letting people know what you're doing and getting warm referrals and that whole thing. So it does take a little bit of time, yeah. So yes, so talking about networking, that was kind of my next question. Like, what marketing methods helped you get your first couple of accounts?
Well, I don't know what is being taught at the training these days, but when I went, we did the Fast Start program, which was you just go out and hit the pavement with your own 2 feet, and you go and you hand out business cards and flyers and meet the people in your area that are these practices, and give them your information, and then you start kind of drip marketing to them. Call them up, see how things are going, send them emails, send them postcards, send them faxes, however that works, just to try to tell them who you are and what you're doing and how you can help them.
Yeah, we actually have a lot of other methods that we teach now, but that is part of the Fast Start plan, like you said. Yeah, we're still giving people that plan at the end of the class on Fridays, so that they can go out and get started right away. But yeah, a lot of it is now we also get very specific information on networking, and not just going out to any kind of event you can think of, but really kind of figuring out different organizations to join that are going to be the most beneficial, like they're going to have the most amount of potential strategic partners for licensees, like, for example, realtors. They have a lot of doctors as clients. They're a good partner. There's a lot of transcriptionists still out there that do work for doctors, and they don't do billing, so that's a good strategic partnership there as well. So yeah, we show people how to find all that.
Yeah, I did leave that out, didn't I? The networking, that's important. And 2 to 3 meetings a week, isn't that what they were teaching?
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, you were just telling me, earlier, you were at right before this webinar. You were at a networking event. You want to just kind of talk about what that was and why you were there? And
yeah, so I belong to it's a women's network, and we are a bunch of business women that get together, and I actually am on their board of directors, and it's just a really great opportunity to get out and network. They have their general meeting, which was today, and then they have a lot of smaller meetings that have different focuses throughout the month that you can go and meet people. And in fact, just this week I had a referral that came from one of my associates in this group, and her referral is becoming my client next week when we sign contracts. So you know, it's very valuable to get out and just rub shoulders with people. You never know who knows who. And this particular contact that I associate with in the network is a CPA. So there's another good strategic partner for you.
yes, absolutely. That's a good one. Yeah, a lot of CPAs have doctors as clients as well. And we've had a lot of CPAs become licensees and go through our program because they realize, hey, I can offer these services to doctors as well as what I'm doing now. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So what? Tell me a little bit about your area. I know you're way out there, right, out in the middle of nowhere. Is that right?
Yeah, big sky country, so there's not, you know, it's not a metropolis. You don't have a whole lot of opportunities, you know, really to, you know, it's not like I can go downtown and hit a street I've never hit before. So, you know, it becomes important to just keep dripping to these people. You never know. I mean, they said no last week, but maybe next week something's going to happen that, you know, makes it so that they need you.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of getting yourself out there so people know who you are, and when they do get in a pickle, they know who they can call. And so yeah, it's been a little difficult that way for me because you know, I don't have a lot of market to draw from here. But you know, I have gone places to market as well. There's other cities close around here. In fact, Spokane, Washington isn't that far away. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, Boise, Idaho, Idaho Falls, Idaho. I've been to all those places. I've been to Helena. I did have a client that was in Idaho Falls. They have switched their line of business, so they're not with me anymore, but I did have them for a while. And so yeah, I mean, there are opportunities no matter, you know, where you choose to do your business.
Yeah, because I mean, this is not a franchise, so you're not restricted in where you can do business. You can do business anywhere you want. Do you have any clients out of state now, or was it just that one?
No, it was just that one. So all my other ones are in state, but they're not all from my town. I have one that's about 2.5 hours west of here, or I should say east of here, and then I have another one that's 2.5 hours south of here. So, you know, I have marketed around, and a couple of my clients, you know, sometimes, like I said, it's not, you know, you're going to knock on their door and they're going to say, oh yeah, and I'll sign up with you on the spot. You know, I think you have to build a relationship of trust. And and some of these people that I have as my clients today are my clients because I didn't give up. And not that I pestered them, but just made myself available to them and kept reintroducing myself to them. And, you know, it was about a year after I first showed up at a doorstep that they became my client. And the same thing just happened to a client I signed last week. You know, I had talked to them about a year ago, and they'd never really heard about sourcing before, and he wasn't a person that would make decisions. You know, it took him a year to make a decision.
Wow.
And finally he made the right choice.
Took him a year, huh?
It did.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. A lot of doctors, they are slow to move. They're slow to make a decision. And the key, as with any business, the key is proper follow-up, like you said. And luckily, we have tools that you can use for automated, what's called drip marketing. For those of you who aren't familiar with that, drip marketing just means you're sending a series of touches to someone, like a postcard, like a physical card in the mail. We have a system that sends those out automatically for you. And also emails. You can do an email drip campaign and different things like that. But yeah, as long as your name is top of mind, when the time comes where something happens, the doctor's software crashes or a staff member quits or something, then that's when you want the doctor to think, oh, I remember Janet, sending me this postcard. I'm going to give her a call.
Mhm. And actually, I say it was a year, but I'd actually been to him even before that and dropped him off some information. And I think it was maybe even a year from that day that he actually called me up and talked to me about it. And then it was a year after that he signed. So that first touch with him, that I gave him my brochure, or whatever it was I gave him, that brochure didn't go in the trash. It stayed on his desk. And when he did think to move, he went to that brochure and said, "Oh, I'm going to call her."
Wow.
So you just never know. You think
yeah.
you send something out and you don't hear anything, and you think, they've thrown it in the trash. But you never know.
So what you're saying is never give up.
That's right.
Never give up your marketing efforts. Yeah, that's really the only way. That's the only way in this business to not get a client, is if you give up and just stop marketing, because there are too many doctors out there that are having a heck of a time, collecting their money. Yeah.
I heard a marketing seminar just the other day in which they said that it takes approximately 10 touches to somebody, or 10 interactions before they choose to use you. And they said that 99% of the people who market will give up after the second try.
Yeah, that sounds
about right. So look at the huge market that is out there, for you, if you just are diligent and keep working hard.
And that's why you want to use those automated systems where you can just plug someone's email address in and click a button, and then every couple of months they get a postcard or they get something from you, and you don't have to remember to do it every month.
So true.
Yeah. Let's see. I've got a couple of questions that have come in. There's a bunch of people. I don't see anything. I can't see anything. Sorry about that in the beginning there. I'm glad we got that worked out.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so Shirley asked how long did it take to get your first doctor. I think you answered that. You said you got your first couple of clients in about 60 days or so. You already mentioned that. Hang on a second. I'm just reading these questions here. Okay, here's one from Kim. How many employees does Janet have working for her? Do you have anyone working for you, or is it just you?
Well, it's pretty much just me. I do have one other person that works on a part-time basis for me, and she kind of helps me stay on top of follow-up with claims and aging reports.
Okay.
She makes some phone calls for me and that type of thing.
Okay, so she's not actually doing the billing, the processing of the claims, or yes?
No, she isn't. No,
okay.
She isn't.
A question that we get a lot is, how do you pay staff? Do you mind sharing how you set that up?
Okay, and I have
contract labor.
I have had. Yes, right now, and I have had people do the data entry for me, and I just paid them on a per claim basis or a per EOB basis. And the EOB is explanation of benefits. It's a statement of payment when we post the payments into the system. So I just paid them that way, and they were contracted workers. And my gal that I have right now working part-time, making phone calls for me, I pay her. We've just kind of worked out an agreement per month that she's willing to take and spend so many hours for me with a flat fee that I offer to her. And it's just on a contract basis. So they're not true employees, I would say.
Yeah. Let's see. So here's one from Deshaun. Are you working from home or at an office? Did you ever get office space? I don't think.
No, I am still at home, but I'm hoping that things keep going as they are, because I've just had 2 clients sign within this month, which is great. And if they keep going the way they are, I'm going to be looking for office space. So
awesome.
That is my next step.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, so just go into a little bit more detail on the 2 clients that you just recently signed up.
Okay. So the one was an optometry client, and he doesn't want me to take over his full cash flow right now. He's just wanting me to do most of the insurance and then billing patients after insurance pays. But he has a few contracts and different things like that he wants to keep in-house. And I said, well, that's, we'll do whatever you want to do. He's the boss. He's the client. And so I said, yes, I'd rather have your business that way than no business from you at all. And so we are doing that. And then I think as I earn more of his trust, he may just go ahead and say, you know what, you go ahead and take the whole ball of wax. So I am doing that for him. And then I have the newest client that I was telling you about was a referral. She is a nurse practitioner, deals with psychiatry patients. And she was with one of my competitors here in town. And I know they don't have to offer what I have to offer because of the tools the ABS has given us. They're still working, on a system that doesn't let their providers see what they're doing. There's not that connection there. Yeah. And the reason why she's leaving them is because there's no communication. She still feels like she has to do a lot of the things herself. And it's like, why outsource your billing if you still have to do a lot of the things yourself? And so she's going to go with me because I can offer her more.
Now, did you just say, was this referred from an existing client that you had referred you to this client, or just someone through networking? Or?
No. Yeah, that's the one where I got the referral from my networking associate.
Oh, okay. Have you ever gotten a new client referred from an existing client?
Yes, I did. In fact, it was kind of funny because one of the people that wanted to go with me from my previous employer, and I told them I can't take you, for 6 months. And so they said, well, if you can't take us, will you take our friend who's opening a new family practice office? And I'm like, well, you bet.
Yeah.
So she actually became my first client. And
oh, okay.
So yeah, that was great.
That's neat how that worked out.
Yeah.
What about competition? Has that ever been much of an issue for you?
Not much, but there's been a couple of close calls that I had. One, I can't even remember who it was or what specialty they were in, but I've been working with them for a while and trying to get them to come with me. And they did end up choosing my competitor because of Point Break, the cost to them. Mm. And, it's true, I'm not the cheapest in town, but, when you're the best, you don't need to be the cheapest in town.
There you go.
And if that's what they chose, then, eventually maybe they'll figure out, well, hey, you get what you pay for. The other thing that I had the other day, a gal had called me up and wanted to know more about what we did, and I told her and thought she was pretty interested, and I thought she would become my client. And then I followed up with her in a couple of weeks, and she said, oh, my boss went with someone else that they had been rubbing shoulders with. And I'm like, oh, too bad. But, those things are going to happen. And, eventually if I keep in touch with them and keep letting them know what all the other benefits we have to offer are and show them that we are better in the future, perhaps maybe they will see the light, so to speak.
Yes, and that's a good attitude to have, because we've heard stories. Licensees have told us that they initially lost out. Like there was a doctor who was taking bids from a couple of different billing companies, and they just went with the cheapest. They went with the lowest price, and that was it. That's all they cared about. They didn't care about the technology or anything. And 3 months later, that licensee got a call, guess who, from the office manager saying, hey, the doctor would like to do lunch with you guys. And that's exactly what happened. Is the doctor said, we screwed up. We went with a company based on price, and their technology is terrible. We can't get real-time reporting. We have no idea what they're doing, with our money at any given moment. And so they switched, and they ended up, paying a little bit more to the licensee, and are much, much happier now. So yeah, it definitely does happen.
Yep.
When you were out there marketing, and when you're chatting with doctors and office managers, do you find that most of them are trying to do their billing in-house or outsourcing already, or what have you seen?
I would say that probably 80%, maybe 85% are trying to do it in-house. And there are a select few that are outsourcing.
Just a few are outsourcing.
Yeah, just a few.
We usually it seems like about 60-40 overall over the the whole country, but say about 60% or more are doing it in-house. But it seems like more and more are realizing the cost benefits and the time benefits of just getting it all out of the office and letting someone, another company take care of all of it so they can practice medicine, which is what they want to do anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's see here. A couple more questions came in. How many hours per week do you work? Irene is asking, how many hours per week do you work?
Well, right now I'm pretty busy because it's just me. But, I do take time to go to networking and different things like that. And so I would say anywhere between 30 and 40. And, that's not really where I want to be honest. I would like to get to the place where I'm hiring people to do this work for me and I don't have to be here every day 8 to 5. Because that was what I was trying to get away from in the first place. But, it takes time. It isn't a get-rich-quick thing. You have to work your way into it. And some people can get there faster. Maybe it's the market they're in or the area they're in. Maybe they're just smarter than me. But anyway, I'm going to get there. I'm just not quite there yet, but I'm working on it.
Good. Let's see. Kaiser Ali asked, "Do you get clients by competing on price or out of contact?" Well, we basically answered that one. You don't compete on price because you know your value that you provide, and you know that the license. You can say, "Look, I've got this technology that's better. And your customer service is going to be better." Because you give the doctors, I'm sure you probably give the doctors your cell phone or a direct line or something where if they have any issues at all, they can call you, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Let's see here. Thomas is asking, how many doctors do you have as clients total right now?
Like just doctors or total practices that I bill for?
Well, let's talk in terms of practices as individual clients, but then tell us how many doctors are in each of those practices, if that makes sense.
Okay, sure. Well, with the 2 I just signed, I have 8 total. Um, and so then I have 3 physical therapy clinics. One of them has 3 physical therapists in it. And then I have, actually out of that mix, I have only 1 medical doctor. The rest are, and then I have, or like I said, a registered nurse, an optometrist, and 2 mental health counselors. And then I did, the one that I lost who switched to a different line of business and is no longer doing medical things, they were an independent laboratory.
Wow. So a broad mix of different specialties and things. There's not any one particular specialty that you, well, actually, that's a good question. Is there a particular specialty that you have targeted or did target in the past, or have you just kind of said, I'm just going to take whatever comes along?
I pretty much take whatever comes along because I know that medical billing is pretty much the same across the board. And you can learn, everything has different nuances, of course, but you can learn those little quirks, you know, along the way. You know, everybody's going to get denials. That's no surprise. The trick is to figure out what's being denied and why, and then fix it pronto. And then you learn from that. So that's always been my philosophy on that.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, we do have licensees that just because of the first couple of referrals and first couple of clients that they got have gravitated to a certain specialty like anesthesiology or something, for example, and they start getting more and more referrals, you know, from their existing clients, and all of a sudden, before they realize it, they're like an expert in anesthesia billing, you know. So sometimes it goes that direction. But yeah, I mean, most licensees are just like, hey, it's pretty similar across the board as far as the billing because the coding database is all the same, you know, nationwide for the medical codes and all that. So it's yeah, so it's pretty easy to handle any kind of specialty, obviously, since you're doing that.
Yeah.
What about the software, the iClaim software? Was that pretty easy to learn? Is it pretty user-friendly? Tell me a little bit about the software.
Oh, so easy, so easy. I have heard just nightmare stories from people, you know. For example, the optometry clinic that I was with, they've been using a software that, oh gosh, they've had it probably since 1980. I don't know.
Wow.
But it was just so, you know, they were doing their work 2 and 3 and 4 times because of the duplication effort that it took to get through, you know, just doing simple tasks. And so, you know, the software that we can offer people is just a huge wow factor, you know, when they, especially for the ones that are coming from something that's so outdated and just difficult to use. They look at that and they go, oh, really? That's all I have to do that? You got to be kidding.
Yeah, it's amazing. There are hundreds of different billing softwares out there, and it's amazing how poor some of them really are. You're right. I mean, there's a big wow factor when the doctors see our system, and I think, you know, back when you guys started, we weren't doing demos on behalf of our licensees, but we actually do that now. We'll do a full system demo on your behalf and show the doctors the system before they sign up. And it's exactly what you just said. While that demo is happening, it never fails. We hear the doctors say, "Wow," you know, 4 or 5 times. They're like, "Wow, I didn't realize software could do that," you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How long does it take you to enter a claim, roughly?
I don't know, but it's like a matter of seconds. I'd have to say a minute or something like that. It's so easy. And especially, you know, with physical therapy, because they use the same diagnosis codes over and over and over. So, you know, I know everybody's probably all the new people are going to this new system, Health Fusion, but I started out with Medrium, and that's what I'm still using, and it's still so easy. I mean, I just pull up the patient and I just copy the information from the last claim, and it's just there in an instant, and all I have to do is click a couple more buttons and hit save. And so it goes pretty fast.
Yeah, we tell people it takes 2 minutes or less, and so that confirms that. I mean, it's once you get the hang of the system, yeah, it's very user friendly. So we actually had someone ask a question about how much business can you generate single-handed, value and profit both. I guess essentially the question is, you know, what is the level of how many claims can one person process, you know, for a good 8-hour, you know, work day? Are you almost maxed out for how much you can do? It sounds like you probably are.
You know, yeah, I am. I really am. And I think as soon as, you know, these next 2 clients, as soon as I get them up and going, I'm going to be looking for someone to help me enter claims or do some day-to-day things, because with 8 clients, it's not just entering claims, it's accepting the payments that come in, and it's and it's the follow-up, because you're only going to be as good at collecting their money as you are in your follow-up. You can't just submit a claim and never look at it again. But the nice thing about it is the system and the software that we're using has great tools to follow up on things. It'll send you reminders if something's been out there too long. And as long as you're paying attention, you're going to make your clients very happy. One of my clients, in fact, it's the medical doctor. I've been doing his billing for maybe 3 months, so 1 quarter, and his office manager said, "This is the best our aging report has ever looked." And an aging report is showing just how long, how old things have been out there. And so, in other words, I had been collecting more for them than anybody else had done to that point.
Wow, that's awesome.
Which felt really good. That was one of the best compliments that I've had.
Yeah, for sure. So along those lines, what kind of rejection rates are you seeing with using the system, and with like has it been for your clients that you have? Has they seen a drastic reduction in rejection rates, or have you been tracking that? Like, for the people that are listening, I'm talking about when you submit the claim the first time. With a lot of systems, you'll get a very high, it'll be rejected by the insurance company. But with our system, because we do all the updates and everything, it's greatly reduced typically. But what have you seen?
Well, I don't have any percentages for you, but I can tell you that from the previous system I worked with when I was working for someone else, and from when I went out on my own with ABS, it's a night and day difference. The one thing that I really love about the systems we use is that if there is a rejected claim, it shows up right there, and it's very clear that it's been rejected, for number one, and number two, it's very clear as to why it's been rejected, and you can fix it, Johnny, on the spot. Where with some of these other systems, and particularly the one that I was using before, is I had to, not only enter the claim in the one system, but then I had to export all those claims at the end of the day into my clearinghouse clearinghouse software, and then submit them, and then make sure that I go back into the clearinghouse system and look and see what's been rejected, and sometimes it's not clear, and sometimes it's not clear why, and it's just really a hassle. This makes it so much easier, and because of the automatic updates too, I rarely see a rejection. Sometimes I'll go in there and I'll look and I'll go, there might be one claim rejected, and I'm just shocked because it doesn't ever happen hardly.
Yeah. Well, we just, I don't know, our rates that we have seen across the board are less than 2% rejected overall, which is, the national average is, over 30% rejected that we have seen. So it's the efficiency of the system. It's the efficiency of you and the work that you're doing, obviously. But as you're putting information into the system, as it kind of checks different fields as you're putting data in, and it basically helps you to make sure that it's right before you even submit it. So yeah, less than 2% is what we're getting right now across the board. So
wow, I can believe that, and I'm really kind of surprised that the national average is still that high. So that speaks to an advantage that we can give people.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's taking into account all of the different ways there are to file claims. I mean, believe it or not, there's still a lot of doctors that are filing on paper even, which just blows my mind. But they're out there, and there's a lot of them that are just, like I said, they're using the older software that's not web-based, and it's not always up to date, and that greatly affects all of that.
Well, I have to tell you that this newest client that I'm signing, she was still handwriting everything.
Oh, wow.
When I told her everything that we could do, she was so excited. I couldn't believe it.
You're saying she was filling out paper claims and mailing them in?
Well, not necessarily paper claims, because she still was outsourcing that part, but I'm talking about like even her charges. They didn't have a super bill built for her. Even just a super bill, which now we're having people do their electronic medical records and then pull the code straight from that and put it in your bucket and create a claim. I don't know, maybe I'm talking too fast about that, but even just creating a super bill and having her, circle the codes, when she's submitting her billing to her outsourced company, she was writing every patient's name down, every code down, and just everything handwritten.
Wow. Yeah, so, I'm sure you've made her life a little bit easier.
Yeah, she's getting very burned out and not seeing as many patients as she could. So I think, she's going to get a new lease on her career when we start doing things for her. She's going to be able to take back her career and what she's really wanting to do.
Yeah, and seeing more patients equals more money for her and more money for you, so everybody wins.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we've just got a couple more minutes. I've got a couple more questions that came in. Grace asked, Janet, have you used sales reps ever to grow your business, and why? Yeah. Did you say that you did or didn't use sales reps?
Well, I did once, but I don't know that I was very successful in my hiring process. I thought that the person that I chose would be, really great and out there every day, and I think that they were different and had different ideas and different plans than I had for. So that really didn't work out too well at that point. I may sometime go back and try to revisit that, but I have found that I do better when I myself go out and market, and when I use the tools that ABS has given me to, send the postcards and that sort of thing.
Okay. Great. Let's see. I'm trying to read through these questions here. We just got a couple more minutes. Since you don't have an office, do you use a P.O. box? Do any of your clients ask where you're located? We talk about that in training, about how to set up a virtual box, like a UPS store box, but you can use a real address, so it doesn't look like a P.O. box. What do you do for that?
Well, I did open a P.O. box just so that people wouldn't see my business card and my address and go, oh, you work from home, oh, you're small potatoes, oh, you can't handle, what I have for you to do. But I found actually that being upfront and honest with people and just saying, hey, yeah, I have a home office, and most people are fine with that. At least I have found that to be the case in my area. I don't think that I necessarily needed to do that.
Yeah, it all just depends, but you're right. I mean, you definitely
Yeah.
want to do everything that you can to appear as if you're a large company, operating
Yeah.
in a large space. And most of the
And
time we
I
have,
think that maybe becomes more important when you're in a bigger area, when you're working a city. We're kind of small town potatoes here, and people just, everybody knows each other kind of thing.
yeah.
And, I think for that purpose, I think people, don't care that I have a home office, but I think maybe in a bigger area, you do want to make yourself appear competent, and, sometimes having a home office may turn some people off.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Dr. Sherry is asking, do you charge for resubmits? I guess
No,
if you have to resubmit
because
a
I
reject claim?
charge, no, because I charge people on what I collect for them. And that is one of the things that that people should look for when they're trying to outsource is my outsourced company in line with my goals. In other words, I'm not going to make any money if I don't make any money for you. And so that's been my philosophy in how I charge. I charge a percentage of what I collect. There was another company that I knew of here in town, and I say was because they're not